Christian Bale is absolutely phenomenal in this role. But again, like every other MCU villain, he was severely underused. Hey guys, welcome back to Canon Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Today I will be reviewing the new Marvel movie, Thor, Love and Thunder, directed by Taika Waititi. And I just want to give a huge shout out to Disney for giving me the opportunity to watch this ahead of the premiere date. It was something special. And I'm going to start off this review by saying that I did not like Thor Ragnarok, and I have come to realize that that is not Taika Waititi's fault, because I actually prefer Thor Love and Thunder to Thor Ragnarok. I think that there was more of a balance of humor, emotional moments, great action scenes, and then just building Thor's mythology. He is a legend, and we get to see that in this movie. And I think that the way that it was structured narratively, where Korg is kind of retelling one of Thor's many adventures, and I think that was just something that made me as a viewer just want to sit there and watch and sit there and listen to all of these stories. And I think that that is something so simple and wholesome that Taika and co-writer Jennifer Caton Robinson did in this, to create those heartfelt moments between, the kids of Asgard and Thor, and also, Jane Foster as the mighty Thor. It's just really great moments throughout. I do understand what people are saying in regards to it feeling too kiddish, too campy, too dumb, I guess. But this is in a similar tone to Ragnarok. As much as I disliked Ragnarok, I could see the undertones and him picking it up from there. But there was a whole lot of darkness that was carried from Endgame for Thor, which really hits. And those moments can really resonate with so many different people, because we've all felt loss. We felt grief. We've loved before, and we wanted to close ourselves off because the pain is just too much. Ever going that deep in a relationship with someone and then it not working out, you just want to close yourself off to everyone. You don't trust anybody. You don't want to open yourself up. And I think that we lost that version of Thor. He was very lost. So he goes on this journey, and I think it's just a very simple story, and many can't really wrap their minds around that, because we're going from a simple self-contained story to multiversal stories. So people just are going for cameos and action, and they're not looking for an actual story sometimes. And that doesn't make any sense. This is miles better than Multiverse of Madness. I think it's on the same tier of perfectly balanced emotionally, like Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings was. But yeah, this Thor movie, it is Thor's story. It's Chris Hemsworth's story. 100%. He has to go on this journey to open himself up again to the idea of love, and love can come in all shapes and forms. And that is what Taika Waititi and Caden Robinson do so well together, is create these moments between different characters, different storylines. So I thought that was really, really sweet that they did that, because love is universal and there can be different forms of love. It's not necessarily romance, or it can be platonic as well. So they explore that, and I think that's really cool to show the world at a time where we need to have more love. We need to unify everyone, and I really do think that Thor Love and Thunder does that so incredibly well. So not only do we get to explore the theme of love with Thor, with Jane Foster, with King Valkyrie, with Korg as well, we get it from the villain's perspective, and the level of destruction and darkness that it also comes with when you love someone so much and you end up losing them or losing your way in that case. So we get Gore the God Butcher, and Christian Bale is absolutely phenomenal in this role. But again, like every other MCU villain, he was severely underused, and I just really don't understand how Gore the God Butcher doesn't get more of a build-up, because I feel like he's a built-up villain to get to, in a trilogy type of thing. He would be the third boss to face basically out of the entire Thor franchise, because Thor the Dark World didn't really have a great villain. They didn't really write him that well, but Gore the God Butcher's more of a lead up, and there's just so much backstory with Gore the God Butcher. I think they did a good job introducing him. I think it was, an abridged version of his history and what he's capable of, and that was fine for me. But I loved his look. I don't care if you want him to look like Voldemort, fam. He looked great to me. He really was menacing. Christian Bale didn't even have to speak, and I was like, damn, he's here as Gore the God Butcher, and I thought he did an excellent job. I thought Russell Crowe as Zeus was absolutely hilarious. I don't know what accent he did, but he was just like prancing around as Zeus, and I loved every second of it. They were both so good. Again, these are like veteran performers, and I think that even having Natalie Portman come back as Jane Foster, that she gave such a grounded, emotional, powerful performance as Jane Foster, but she also had so much freaking fun as the mighty Thor. And it was great to see her play around with that. And I think that's why actors take on these roles in the MCU. It's not so serious, but they have these performances that bring out the best in the rest of the cast. And Natalie Portman brings out the best side of Chris Hemsworth. Like, it is just so awesome what they pull out of each other. Their chemistry was great. There were awkward first, encounters, first moments with them. Then there was like playful banter. And then we got into more of like a serious discussion between the two of them. I thought it was really strong, and they both carried the film. Like, if it wasn't for them, I think that I would have given it a lower score, but all of that makes up this movie. It's about love, and there's more of like the Norse mythology that we all wanted from the beginning. And I think that Thor Love and Thunder and Kenneth Branagh's Thor in 2011, they kind of match each other in regards to finding out who Thor actually is and going back to his core and his roots, and I think that that is what's so important. It's a different version of Thor entirely, but also he becomes the best version of himself on top of that. And I think that this Thor moving forward, there's like even more longevity with the character development in Thor Love and Thunder. And I think that's what I respect so much. Like, we had Endgame Thor, which was like, wasn't a huge fan of like all the fat jokes and everything. It really bothered me. And then like Infinity War Thor, he was out for blood. And then like Ragnarok, like from Ragnarok to Infinity War, just like, where's the correlation? I've had a love-hate relationship with the character. I think Hemsworth is absolutely hilarious, and he sticks the landing with those jokes and those one-liners, but I really do think that he has perfected the character in Thor Love and Thunder. Again, that comes down to the writing. I thought it was really well done, really well written, for the most part, for an MCU film. I thought it was fast-paced. It was really quick. Didn't feel like it was rushed. I felt like we got so much information, and we got great character development as well. But yeah, I think everyone was great. I wish there was more screen time for Tessa Thompson. I think that there's not a lot that King Valkyrie did in this one. She was completely badass. Love her relationship with Jane Foster. There's some great girl power moments between the two of them, which I really appreciated. I just think that Taika had fun with this. And you could see that the rest of the cast had fun with this. And Taika, he wanted to explore the world of Thor through the legend of Thor. And I think that's what's really important here. Post-credit scenes are fantastic. The best post-credit scenes out of Phase 4. I was just so happy seeing both of them. They weren't stupid. They really just added to the Thor franchise. Again, this is a self-contained story, and I want more of these. I don't care about the multiverse. The only reason why I cared about the multiverse is for Spider-Man. And now, like, I don't want to see it anymore because they don't know how to do it properly. And I think that they really fumble the ball with Multiverse of Madness for that reason. And I know we're going to get more multiverse stuff, but like, make it make sense, make it make sense. Or like, no one has addressed the TVA and Loki. No one has addressed what happened with WandaVision. Like, it's not enough because they didn't address what happened in WandaVision and like her in reality and the whole timeline affecting the TVA with Loki. Like, no one's explaining that. They're not even talking about like the Spider-Man multiverse break, and they just moved even like farther past that in Multiverse of Madness. So the timelines are breaking everywhere. Even in What If, like if that's in continuity, you have 5 different projects that explored the multiverse and nothing's meshing. So I don't know what's happening with that, but I prefer a contained story. And this is the one. I think Thor Love and Thunder nailed it. It's balanced emotionally, great action scenes. The only reason why I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd is because the special effects are terrible. The CGI is really bad, and you could see it for spending the amount of money that they do. I don't know where that money goes, but the CGI is almost like never polished, never good, except for the goats. I thought the goats were absolutely hilarious. Those are the only things that really just like stood out to me CGI wise, but everything else, like green screen, you could tell like it just was not finished and it didn't work for me. The last thing that I will say is that the soundtrack, full on Guns N' Roses. I was so freaking happy when I heard those needle drops, and I got a little spice of ABBA in there too. So I was really happy with that. But yeah, that's my review for Thor Love and Thunder. If I would have to rank the Thor movies, it would be the first Thor, Love and Thunder, The Dark World, and then we get Ragnarok down at the bottom. I said it. Surprise, surprise. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can always follow me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.